All right. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Rocking with you here on a Monday, first Monday after the football season. No doubleheader on the Monday night schedule. I think it's because of the Emmys that they didn't do it. Doubleheader next week. But a lot of stuff to get cover. I'm just going to do NFL stuff today, and I'm going to start doing a college football hangover. I love college football. There's a weird um, week in college football. I have to talk about that a little bit. But let's go ahead with the NFL. So the big story: Cowboys and Dak. I think that this is fantastic for the Cowboys. A fantastic outcome. If you were watching the game, you just see they just don't have the weapons. The offensive line isn't what it used to be. They went from the best receiving core in football to a mediocre at best receiving core. CD Lamb, I'm not sure if he's a true number one. This is a guy that they thought would lead the league in receiving, and you watch a Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, guys that just truly get open. He doesn't seem like he does that. He spent a lot of time in the slot. Don't want to get too technical, but it just seems like this team needs a reset. And Dak's injury, they've already made it known that they're not looking to do trades. Dak's injury allows them to lose gracefully because no one's going to be upset in Cowboys land if they're losing with Cooper Rush. And kind of slow roll him coming back, maybe hold him out a game or two as a precaution. Just keep on racking up the losses. This is a deep quarterback draft. Draft one of those guys, trade Dak away for a first-round pick. They got 2 first-round picks for Matt Stafford. I think he's definitely in that Matt Stafford caliber of quarterback. There's a dearth of quarterbacks in the NFC in particular. Trade him, get a first-round pick, get Sean Payton as your coach next year. I think that's going to definitely happen. And then you're off to the races. I think Sean Payton's one of the best coaches in football. I think that's a way to rebuild. And I know Jerry Jones is older. He wants to win now, but this is just not a win now roster. I've given them a lot of credit for the rosters they put together. This offseason was baffling in a whole bunch of different directions. I don't understand trading Amari Cooper for pretty much nothing. I don't understand letting Cedric Wilson go. I don't understand their moves this offseason. So I think this is a good thing. This team wasn't good enough. The Buffalo Bills, good as advertised, but we'll see. And the we'll see comes from, I think the preseason is starting to show its importance. The old becomes the new, and a lot of times we look at things that were done in the past. I'm like, why did you guys do it that way? But sometimes there's a reason to it. And I think that the record for quarterbacks who did not play at all in the preseason right now is 3-7, right? And you can say to yourself, hey, I don't want to get my guys hurt in a meaningless game. But you're also throwing away a game at the start of the year. These teams, a lot of them just came out sloppy. It was sloppy football. So I think as a bettor and as a sports fan, I think you really need to start paying attention to who's playing in the preseason and who's not, and really fading the teams, especially initially, that are not playing in the preseason. I think the Patriots were as bad as I thought that they were going to be. Um, let's see. Let's just quickly scroll down the list here. I thought the Jacksonville-Washington game was an interesting game. A lot of turnovers from Wentz. Jacksonville was sloppy, but there was some real talent there. I think they should have came out with that win. A lot of people are talking about the Niners game and, banging on Trey Lance. That's your first true start as the unquestioned starter. You played in a monsoon on the road. I don't think you can really judge him. We'll see what happens going forward. The Bears players were talking trash. But, I mean, this might be the only win that they get this whole year. So, I said that he was an MVP candidate. I thought he was a tasty bet. The number came way down because other people saw what I saw. But my pick for MVP and my pick to win the Super Bowl, the team I want to talk next is the Chiefs. I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes was flawless. That defense has definitely improved. The draft picks, it looks like they might have one of these Saints draft where they've hit on multiple picks. They had multiple guys, Pacheco, Sky Moore, McDuffie, Kaloftis, I think that's his name. These are four rookies. They're starting playing big dividends for them. So um, that's interesting to see. The Philadelphia game, they were up big and they gave it up. A lot of people have them picked to win this Super Bowl, and just in general, the NFC just doesn't look good this year. But to give up 35 points to the Detroit Lions, their defensive coordinator is one of the guys that's pegged to be the next brilliant guy. And I mean, I just haven't seen it. The first year he said it was vanilla because it was taking time for the guys to learn the scheme. This is year two. I think I would say probably 80% of the defenses return. Why are they looking like that? So the Cleveland Carolina game, I didn't understand that line and why so many people were so heavy on the Panthers because their coach is incompetent. I mean, he just does and says the weirdest things. And Cleveland has a style to play, especially when offenses are kind of sloppy and struggling, that can lead to some success. They run the ball and they play great, ferocious defense. They have an elite defensive front. That's a a recipe for winning. Giants, Tennessee. A lot of people are talking about Saquon. I think that Tennessee kind of had this game won and gave it up at the end. They're big dogs to Buffalo next thing. That's one of the picks that I love. I mean, I don't know if they're going to win the game, but to get that many points, I think that it's kind of ridiculous. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Raiders, Chargers. It's another game that I love. Derek Carr said he was too aggressive. I just don't see. I see a lot of warning signs for the Raiders because this is a team that's pretty much fully baked, in the sense that they paid big money they've given Carr an extension. He's 31, 32 next year, right? They gave Devontae Adams, top wide receiver in the league, in money. He's 30 this year. They paid Darren Waller. He's 30 this year, 30 in a couple weeks. So you put all these things together, not that they're too old and they're not going to be able to play and all that kind of stuff, but this is a win now type of deal. And you have the Chargers, which is a young team in their division, which is stacked. You have the Chiefs, a young team in their division, which is stacked. This is not a recipe for a rebuild. By the time you get your offensive line ready, by the time you get, the little pieces that you need here and there, these guys might be out of their primes, So I didn't understand paying all these money to skill position players when it starts in the trenches. You can't win with the bad O-line. You just can't. The pass rushers in this league are too good. Let's see where we at. What's up, Mama?
Daddy,
What's up?
I'm just Grandma and Daddy.
I know. Go talk to your grandma about
Hey, Daddy.
it. Mm-hmm.
When are we gonna eat the last candy?
Well, when your brother gets back, okay? Close the door. Okay, Daddy's gonna record for a little bit. I'll be down in a
Are
little
we
bit.
gonna split it?
I don't know. We'll see. Close the door. I'll be down in a minute. Okay, so where was I at? The Chiefs, talked about them, Cardinals, Tampa Bay, we talked about them at the top. That's pretty much it. This is going to be an interesting season because, especially in the AFC, everything is so tight. To be throwing games early just isn't the smartest way to go. A lot of injuries on that side, which is, I mean, just feel like JJ Watt went down, or not JJ, TJ Watt. That going down, start Niners running back going down, Barnett, top pass rusher for the Eagles on the end. Fuller. It's a game of attrition, man. Wait all year for it to come back, and then you start losing major players. But the game is a game. College football. Okay. Alabama panic meter. The Alabama panic meter has to be at 10. I said it when it happened, and I'm just going to reiterate it now. When Nick Saban went on that rant about NIL, I think what he was doing was preparing Alabama fans and preparing the country to, like, listen, fam, we're not going to be this dominant team anymore. The days of Lane Kiffin said it when he was the offensive coordinator, he would see his backups and second strings warming up and say, we could beat this SEC team's starters with the backups in the third string. Those days are over. They are pedestrian at the wide receiver position, pedestrian on the perimeter, on the cornerbacks, pedestrian at the running back position. I think it's over. I just think that Alabama run of dominance is over. All these teams are going to be evenly matched going forward. And now we'll truly see who the best coach is. I said about Bill Belichick, you're the greatest coach of all time when you had the greatest quarterback of all time. What's that Patriots way done for you since he's left? Right? What have you done since he's left? And Nick Saban, you're the greatest coach of all time. The playing field is now even. Everybody's getting players. Texas A&M, Kentucky, Florida, USC, Texas. Everybody's getting players. Whatever was happening before, those days are over. It's the talent is being Miami. Everybody's spreading the talent. Now that the base is even, what are you going to do, Nick Saban? That's the question I think a lot of people need to ask themselves. Now that the base is even, what is he truly the best? Is Alabama going to roll? I predict, man, they don't win a national championship until he leaves. And you might say that's crazy, but that's how competitive it's going to be now. They squeaked in last year. They barely beat Auburn. They barely beat Arkansas. Let's look at their next couple of games. So they had Monroe, then Vanderbilt, then they play Arkansas, then they play Texas A&M, then they play Tennessee, then they play LSU, then they play Ole Miss. They're not going undefeated. They're going to lose. I would say they're probably going to lose at least two of those games. Not one, but two of those games. So, I mean, I think that what he was doing, I saw it and I said it immediately. He is preparing the landscape of college football to understand those days of Alabama rolling and, we're looking for the one team that can get them on that one magical night. Those days are gone. I just think that this is going to lead to a really interesting season. The Irish quarterback Buckner shoulder is going to miss 4 months, pretty much the season. I thought he was a pedestrian quarterback. Notre Dame lost. Excuse me, I said Iowa. Notre Dame lost to Marshall. We are Marshall. Texas A&M had a bad loss as well to Appalachian State. If I'm going to pay a school to come, I'm going to pay like New Mexico State. I'm not paying like Appalachian State and Marshall, like teams that, like even the baddest teams don't even understand, right? Even the worst teams, there's a level to trashness. And I think that with Marshall and Appalachian State, a casual college football fan knows who those teams are, has heard of them, probably can name a player or a big game that they won. So you got to schedule these bums, man. Especially at the start of the season when you're trying to figure things out. You got to schedule bums. This is team New Mexico State, man. They look trash. That's the team. Idaho. Let me bring Idaho, the Idaho Vandals. That's who I'm bringing in. I'm not bringing in Marshall. We are Marshall and Appalachian State where they throwing bombs over, Baghdad. No, we're not doing all that. I didn't know they were having a quarterback controversy in Ole Miss. A lot of teams are doing this. Michigan did this, and I think Michigan did it just for the sole fact that they wanted to start McCarthy, but they didn't want because McCarthy led them to the college football playoffs last year. A lot of people would have been, oh, he led us here before. It's not right. But McCarthy is obviously the talent, and they need some juice. So, some really, really big games next week. I'm going to do a pregame or a tailgate. Let's call it a tailgate, college football tailgate on Thursday, previewing the best games of the week. But so look out for that. All right, back on the block. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. Games again. All right, thank you for watching this clip. Do me a favor, push the button, hit subscribe. Come on, man, push it.
Push the goddamn button!
Push the goddamn button!
You heard what she said.
And do what's right. You heard her. Push the button. The game is again.
So what's up, man? What's up with you otherwise, you know? The game is a game. Always.